But for the Rams, Todd Gurley, the NFL's most productive running back, and it isn't close. Tops in the league in offensive touches, scrimmage yards, and touchdowns. But in 8 games versus top 5 run defense, he averages just 67 yards a game, and that Saints D comes in at number 1. Here's another number 1 for you. Drew Brees throwing his first interception of the season last week, and it's 120 yards passing, the lowest ever in a victory during his Saints career. The Rams have one of the most ferocious fronts from the interior in the league, and now, Sean, they've added a little pizzazz out on the edge.
That ain't fair.
Trading for Jacksonville's Dante Fowler. Okay, we got 2 of the best offensive brains in football going head-to-head here. Sean McVay, Sean Payton. And for Sean Payton, the wrinkle this year, using a couple of quarterbacks at once. Taysom Hill, Drew Brees, and Coach, for them to really maximize the potential there, doesn't there have to be the threat of a pass from Taysom Hill?
Yeah, this is what distinguishes Taysom Hill and his version of the Wildcat from anybody else. He's got legitimate passing skills down the field. And when you see what he does, we're going to see this expanded on. Here they're going to obviously Drew Brees at the top. He's displaced. You're going to see a little jet sweep fake here. And he's going to run just the little boot action that we see everybody run in the league every week. Well, watch, he could run the ball, but look what he does on the outside. This is the perfect pass. They end up dropping it, but it was a perfectly thrown ball. Now watch this. Harrison Smith's going to be in the middle of the field. You got 10 defenders all within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, and Harrison Smith, he settles. Why? Because they think it's going to be a run. Instead, this is a legitimate drop back. Taysom Hill gets a big play down the field, underthrew it a little bit, but like I said, he's got legitimate throwing skills. Now, this is the next step that we're going to see in this Wildcat. Taysom Hill's going to run the read option. He's been very good at this. He's yet to hand the ball off. Look at this. You got to read the defensive end. If he'd have given the ball to Kamara, he might have hit his head on the goal line. So we're going to start to see him actually give in the read option. And then obviously down here, you're going to start to ignore Drew Brees. Look at this. They don't even look at him. You're going to get a one-step by Kamara or by Taysom Hill, throwing it to him or Teddy Bridgewater at the top when a defense decides they're going to ignore those quarterbacks displaced in the formation.
Ignore Drew Brees at your own peril. Career 8 catches for 74 yards and a touchdown out wide, so it's there. Hey, all the quarterbacks in this game benefit from having 2 of the best backs in the NFL. Todd Gurley, Alvin Kamara. You see Gurley leading in a couple of categories, but together they lead in every major statistical category from scrimmage since 2017, including a ridiculous 34 touchdowns. Coach, how do they get it done?
Well, they're both great legitimate running backs, but it's in the receiving game that I'm intrigued by. They have almost identical numbers. Here you're going to see Gurley in the deep eye. He's just going to run, fake the boot, come back and throw the screen back to where you faked him. This is obviously, you're going to see this 2-3 times a game. Well, Kamara does the same thing in 21 personnel. They're going to fake him to the side of the play. Drew Brees is going to come out in that boot action we talked about earlier, slip Kamara out, and now all of a sudden you've got a big explosive play. They also run this screen in multiple versions, multiple personnel. But this is where it gets really scary. Empty personnel, Gurley in the slot. He's going to run a little scrape route. This is against the DB now, not against the linebacker. Look at him drop this ball right almost down into the end zone. And now again, empty personnel, Kamara at the top. This is a legitimate go route, as good as any wide receiver could run it. 40 yards down the field within 5 yards of the sideline. So they have legitimate receiver abilities, both as route runners and receivers, that adds their explosiveness. I mean, it's off the charts.
Only 2 players in football with over 1,000 yards rushing and receiving since the start of 2017. And so obviously for the Rams, Sean, it's Gurley back there, tight end, and 3 receivers, almost exclusively. 95% of the time they're in 11 personnel. How does that really challenge this Saints defense this week?
Well, what it does, Rhett, is spreads them out, and it puts a lot of pressure on the slot corners. Now, the Saints just traded for Eli Apple because they need a little bit of help, but it was P.J. Williams that's going to have to put out the fire because that's who the Vikings went after, and that's how Kirk Cousins ended up with 359 yards. Let me show you the spacing. And here's what you see down in the red zone, all right? This is Adam Thielen right down here against P.J. Williams. And I want you to watch on the snap, Rhett. Look at all this space right here, right? The whole middle of the field right here is wide open. Down in the red zone, that's what you're trying to do with the routes. But Kirk Cousins right here, I mean, he sees all this room. He sees this linebacker, all right, coming in and opening up even more. And Adam Thielen with a great route right here. This is an easy throw, easy touchdown right here. P.J. Williams giving up 5 touchdowns already this season. All right, here's another slot defender right here, P.J. Williams against Adam Thielen. And look at all this space already pre-snap. He's giving him a cushion right here. But the middle of the field right now for the Saints defense is where Goff is going to want to attack them. And you see Adam Thielen right here is going to come out of this route and do a great job of running this flat. And look at this separation off of P.J. Williams.
That's a beautiful thing.
If you're the Rams right now, you're licking your chops, especially if you're Cooper Kupp. He had a big game when these guys played last year in Week 12. He had 8 catches for 116 yards. And I think this Rams offense, they're really going to stress this Saints secondary. When you factor in the fact that Marcus Davenport is now banged up, that puts even more pressure on them to hold on to their coverages.
Yeah, I think also you got to keep in mind now that the special teams is going to have a big factor. John Foss, who worked for me in Baltimore, he's the best special teams coach in the National Football League. I think special teams could be the difference between these two teams.
And Cooper Kupp, a very good chance to play, according to Sean McVay, this week after missing the last 2 games. It's the Packers and Patriots combined 5 NFL MVPs between Rodgers and Brady, meeting for just the second time, though. And among their lengthy resumes, so they are the only 2 quarterbacks in NFL history with 6+ seasons of 30 or more TDs and 10 or fewer interceptions. So get ready for a QB clinic on Sunday night.
Well, you're saying 2 of the best. I mean, 2 of the best all time. I mean, I think you really appreciate not only what they do on the field from a quarterback position, but really their contributions to the game of football. And if you wanted to study how to play quarterback, then you need to watch that game Sunday night, because you're going to see all the little things. You're going to see fundamentals. You're going to see the at-the-line responsibility from pure quarterback play. I think this is definitely one you want to watch.
The Packers taking on the Patriots. Willie, we got a great matchup here.
I can't wait.
Obviously, everybody's looking at the quarterbacks, Brady versus Rodgers, but when you turn on the film,
they don't play each other.
No, they're not playing each other. They're playing the defenses. So it's really about the Packers and the Patriots defense. Right. And to me, it's all about third down. How can you get the other quarterback off the field? I thought last week, Willie, when you turn on the film, the Packers did a great job on third down of changing up their coverages and their blitzes. And you're going to see on this third down, Clay Matthews and Nick Perry are going to actually drop on this play. And they're only going to rush 3 guys, but Blake Martinez does a great job of bouncing from the pivot route with Robert Woods back to the tight end and taking both guys away. Goff, he just read his eyes, and you can see Goff doesn't have anywhere to go with the ball, takes a sack. Right. All right, now another third down later in the game. They're showing and bluffing blitz, but 51-35 are going to drop. Blake Martinez is going to come on a blitz, and he does a great job of getting on the edge of the center and getting home for a sack. So when do you blitz, Brady? When do you not blitz? Well, this is kind of when Mike Penn's going to have to really figure out a balance here, because here, after getting home on a blitz, they show blitz, but they're going to drop 51 here. Blake Martinez is going to drop 2, and they're going to bring pressure from the other side. Now, the key to this whole blitz, Willie, was Blake Martinez faking like he's coming for the blitz and holding Todd Gurley, making him respect that before he dropped. And what that did was that freed up Clinton Dix to come on the blitz, and it's another sack on third down. So for the Packers and Mike Pettin, it's, hey, look, we want to be aggressive, but we don't want to give up any big plays. So we bluff the blitz. Do we show coverage? Do we rush 3? Of course, if they get home, it makes you look smart. But the one thing the Patriots do a great job of is while you're trying to defend the tight ends and the receivers, they get their running backs involved in the game.
Everybody's involved. It doesn't really matter. And I think for this particular game that you just showed, that Mike Penn did a great job in the first half, but in the second half, they didn't really adjust well, which Sean McVay did a great job of doing. The Patriots will do this. So here's one of the plays Sean McVay did. Here's a double stack. Now you see Gurley on the outside as a receiver. You got kind of a bunch at the bottom, Sean. They're going to run a 3-man crosser, which is really clearing out the play for Todd Gurley to come across. He's being covered by a linebacker.
It's like a little
he gets lost. He gets lost in the coverage. His man is running up the sideline for a touchdown. Okay, so now you're going to play Tom Brady. You're going to do a blitz zone or a man-to-man beater. Okay, they decide to rush 5 guys right here. He has 2 options. He got Gronk across the middle and one of his favorites targeting James White on the outside. He's always going to have an outlet. He's going to get the ball out quick, find out where the mismatches is, and attack that.
You get the feeling that this game could come down to who's got the ball last, and really it could come down to just one throw. So take me through something special that one of these quarterbacks do.
You got to be talking about Aaron Rodgers. He's special within itself. His throws, his ability to put the ball in certain areas where no quarterback can put it. Whether you blitz, you got the perfect coverage, or here, as far as Fuller, he's step for step, man for man, whatever you want to call it, going after the ball, but it does not beat a perfect throw. So with Aaron Rodgers, you got to make sure you got all those things, the great rush, but you got to cover one-on-one.
Yeah, you can't beat and you can't defend the perfect throw. Brady, Rodgers. I'm going to throw Favre's name in there too, because Tom Brady is 4 touchdowns away from tying Brett Favre for second most all time. It's going to be a special night, and who knows, there could be a third quarterback in the mix here.
What, you fired up for this thing or what?
Goosebumps right there seeing that.
Yeah, I think Ben Roethlisberger might need to have this on the playlist this week because he has struggled on the road against the Ravens. Just 3 wins and 9 opportunities, more interceptions than touchdowns, and that passer rating almost 30 points lower on the road against the Ravens than at home. Coach Billick back here with us, and Coach, obviously, anytime you go on the road, you want to minimize mistakes, but almost just as much in this matchup, is it about Ben Roethlisberger and the offense maximizing opportunities?
Yeah, it does. I got to participate on 20 of these, and this is the best rivalry in the National Football League. But if they're going to go in against that number 1 rated Baltimore Raven defense in Baltimore, that offense has got to do 3 things. 1, you got to protect Ben. Now, you're an 11 personnel here, and you're going to have versus a 7-man front. So the numbers aren't right to begin with, and it ends up being a 5-man rush. But the back and the tight end do a great job. They pick up the pressure, and now you got a wide open Juju Smith-Schuster down the field for the kind of big play that the Steelers are going to need in order to beat the Ravens. All right, now, again, if you go ahead and protect Ben, he's going to find an open receiver. Here you only have a 4-man rush, and the offensive line does a good job. Ben's going to scan the field. He's going to find somebody to go to. Here he comes all the way to the backside again to Juju Smith-Schuster. Great shot into the end zone, but he drops it. They can't miss these opportunities when they get the protection and the route down the field. And then finally, you got to be able to do this. You got to be able to run the ball. This is an 8-man front that James Conner is facing. And in an 8-man front, you can block it as well as you want, but at some point, the back's got to make somebody miss. Well, you know what? James Conner leads the league in making missed tackles by the defense. So these 3 things have to happen. Let's remember, Baltimore's given up 288 yards rushing over the last 2 weeks, so they are vulnerable if indeed James Conner can get it cranked up.
And Le'Veon Bell still a no-show, so it will be the James Conner show once again. And Shaun, for this Ravens offense, they've kind of fallen off here a little bit in the last few weeks, but when they are at their best, they've been utilizing that vertical pass game.
Yeah, they've played a couple of tough defenses. And the coach is right, this matchup, it's going to come down to a field goal. It's always a really back-and-forth power struggle. Sometimes all you need is one big play to flip this game around, and that's where John Brown comes in. He's been a great addition to this offense, and when you look at what he brings to this offense, his speed demands respect. And when you get respect, you get a cushion, Rhett. Look at this cushion right here by the corner. All right, he threatens him with the deep route right here, but he converts this to a deep in route. And that cushion right there is what allows this yards after the catch. John Brown's come up with some big plays for Baltimore already this year, 4 catches, over 40 yards. So he's Joe Flacco's big play guy. Now here's from earlier this season when the Pittsburgh Steelers were giving up all kinds of big plays, 15 of them in the first 3 weeks. Joe Flacco knows right now, if I get John Brown hip to hip with a safety in a corner, I know he can run away from him. So this is all about a spot throw for Joe Flacco. Puts this ball right in the back of the end zone, lets him run underneath. That's the big play of John Brown. Now here's a great play design to be aggressive with an 8-man protection right here and just a 2-man route. And all they're trying to do is open up the middle of the field and get John Brown one-on-one with this safety. There is no safety that can keep up with John Brown. Now, a little bit better throw right there. Maybe this is a touchdown. But one play like this can totally change this game. And I think for Baltimore, they're looking for that big play. They're going to be aggressive early on, especially when you're at home. You get the crowd noise involved and get everybody on your side. This is going to be a fun one to watch.
But in order to get those downfield big-time plays in the passing game, you got to give Joe Flacco a little time.
Yeah, Joe Flacco's got to have some time, and they're going to try to give attention to T.J. Watt, so he's going to get some chips and some slides. So that could leave Bud Dupree one-on-one. Now, in this play right here, the Baltimore Ravens are going to send the running back over for a chip. Dupree does a great job of recognizing it and turning it into a natural stunt. That wasn't a design TE twist. He just saw Flacco step up. So I think Dupree could get a lot of one-on-one matchups. He could be a big factor in this game.
Check this out, all right? Because we got Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs going up against Baker Mayfield and the Browns. This was the last time they met in college. Mahomes had 734
That's
passing
like a basketball
yards.
score.
They combined for 12 passing touchdowns, and I don't know how many points that is. I can't add that fast.
Oh,
Shaun, what's Mahomes going to be like this week?
A lot of yards, a lot of points. Well, here's what's so dangerous about Patrick Mahomes. Even when you call the right play defensively and you've got everything worked out, this is Tampa 2 coverage right here. And look at the Patriots right now. They're going to plaster all over the receivers. The tight end's covered. The receivers are covered on the inside, the outside. Even Kareem Hunt out of the backfield's covered. But now Mahomes is going to escape out of the pocket and deliver this strike down the field. That is something you can't coach. And sometimes it's hard to stop.
Coach, what do you got on Baker?
Well, Baker's got some escapability as well. I mean, he can make some plays. He's not on pace for the 50-plus touchdowns the way Mahomes is, but I want you to watch here as things begin to collapse. He kind of ping-pong ball around here, and he maintains contact with the ball, comes out of it, gets his vision down the field. He is a bit of a gunslinger, so this guy can make some plays.
The Broncos trading Demaryius Thomas to the Texans for a 4th-round pick and a swap of 7s, and now he heads right back to Denver, where these two are going to square off at Mile High. What's the impact for DT in Houston, Coach?
Well, they lost Will Fuller, so they need a counterbalance to DeAndre Hopkins. And obviously, this guy, Thomas can do this. He can go vertical, and they need a bunch of this. Just down the field, make a defense respect it. This is a guy that's had 5 1,000-plus yard seasons, so he's capable.
All right, maybe the most impactful move of the trade deadline, the Eagles acquiring Golden Tate from the Lions for a 3rd-round pick. Tate has led the NFL in yak the last 5 seasons. Sean, what's Philly getting?
Yeah, the defending champs just got better in yards after catch, as you mentioned, but when you look at the separation that he creates, how about him in the slot right here, one-on-one? Watch him do this corner so dirty. He does it twice right here. All right, breaks his ankle, his right ankle right there. Now he breaks his other one. And then look at him freeze this safety right here. I mean, most guys would run up the sideline and to get tackled, but he shows a little burst right here, Rhett. Look at him running away from this safety right here. Heath has got no chance right here. Golden Tate, yeah, he's wearing a new uniform.
The Packers making multiple moves on Tuesday, including sending Clinton Dix to the Redskins for a 4th-rounder. His new teammate now, DJ Swearinger, they're both tied for the most interceptions by a safety the last 3 seasons. Coach, how does he make an already strong defense better?
Yeah, you throw Josh Norman in there. I want you to watch what he does down here at the bottom, 1-1 with the tight end. Just a smart player. He blocks off the tight end, recognizes what the route's going to be. He actually jumps the route the way the receiver was supposed to, ends up getting an interception. This is going to be a big pickup for the Redskins.
And for this week's retrospective, 2 words for struggling offensive lines. Wide receivers. Seahawks gave up 12 sacks the first 2 weeks. They've given up less than 10 in the last 5 games. They're getting the wide receivers involved in pass pro.
He did better
you
than
saw
Brady.
Golden Tate, or you saw it rather Doug Baldwin give Russell Wilson just enough time for the Tyler Lockett touchdown. Now Jerron Brown here in motion. Watch him replace Ed Dixon in pass pro here. Allows Dixon to slip out for a big gainer.
Nice coverage.